Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It is Andrew here, and today I'm going to show you really quick how to get a React application set up and deployed to the internet using Next.js. So we'll just start here by creating a new directory. I'll just create one called Next Starter. And then we're going to install a few things. We're going to initialize npm. And then we need a few dependencies. So we're going to need Next, React router, and I'm going to use Bulma, which is a CSS framework that I'm just choosing. So we'll wait for this to finish. Alright, so now let's open up this project into VS Code. And I'm going to add my start scripts here. So my first script will be dev, which will just run next in the current directory. I'll have my start script running next start and my build script. The build script will be the script that we use to actually run it in production. So I'm going to create a directory called source, and I'm going to add a pages folder. Next.js automatically finds the files in here and serves them as pages, and a big benefit of Next.js is that it is a file system type routing. So I'm just going to create our index page here really quick. The function can be named whatever as long as it's a default export. So I'm just going to throw something in here really quick for a placeholder. All right, now let's run our application to make sure this is working. I'm just going to run npm run dev. And we'll wait for Next to start up. And this is server-side rendering, so that is a huge benefit of using Next.js. So we can see that it's working now. And like I said before, it is server-side rendering, so if we inspect the page, we can see that the rendered HTML file is coming back from the server, which is really useful for SEO purposes. All right, so now let's create another page, and I'm going to call this _app.js. And this is a custom file specific to Next.js, so Next.js knows how to read this file. This is basically a file that you use to do global things with your application. So you can see it takes a component and the page props. So the component is the specific page that you are on, and then you are passing through the page props. So you can see nothing changed right now, but I want to pull in Bulma CSS. So this is where you want to do that. And right now it won't update. Usually you get hot reloading, but because this is a CSS file and the app file, we're just going to restart the server really quick. And once it's restarted, we should be able to see that Bulma is now in effect. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to pull in just this hero element from Bulma, and I'm not going to explain Bulma. I'm just going to copy in a few things. You can look up their documentation for more specifics and just copy that in here. I'm not sure why my formatting is all weird, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. We'll just call this Next Starter and some random subtitle here. And go back to the page. All right, looks pretty good. Nothing fancy, but we'll spice that up a little bit. And actually, I'm gonna add the styles right now. So I'm just gonna add background color just to make it a little more fancy. All right, that looks fine. I'm gonna add another page here called About, and Next will automatically pick this page up if you route to /about because it's in the pages directory. I'm just going to copy this hero section and just paste it in here just for keeping things nice and simple. And this should be good. I'm going to change the background, I think, to a different color just to differentiate it a little bit. And if we take a look at that later, I think that'll look good. Now I'm going to add some routing. So again, this is an app.js, so this will be on every page. So Next has their own router to take advantage of client-side routing, so it's very fast and very snappy when you are routing between pages. My first link here will just be to the home page, and then the link to the About page. And you can see we didn't set up any router or anything like that, and that's something that is a huge advantage with Next.js. And I'm just going to add a space in between those two links there. That's looking pretty good. All right, I have an empty repository here just called Next Starter. I'm going to initialize my current directory with git and then commit these changes and push to this repo. And I'm using Zeit, and the bash equivalent of these Zeit commands I'll have on the screen. And I forgot to add a git ignore, so I need to make sure that I'm not committing files that I don't want to. When you're using Next, you also want to git ignore the .next folder because that's the build directory and you don't need that. All right, so we added our origin for the repo, pushed, and now we should see our repository has been updated. Perfect. So now let's actually deploy this site. So I'm using Zeit, and Zeit is the creator of Next, and they have their own development or deployment platform called Now. So I'm just going to go through the process of adding an existing repository, and I can keep all the defaults, and Zeit, or I should say Now, will automatically pick up that this is a Next application. So of course, because it's the same company that developed Next, developed Now, it'll just work right out of the box as long as you have that build script in place. So now let's just wait a second for this deployment. It shouldn't take too long here. All right, and there we go. You can see the domains and the URLs for this application. You can see the preview of our website, and it's just as simple as that. And if we go to the actual site, we can see that it is live at next-starter-brown.now.sh, and that's just kind of a random URL that they gave it. You can see it's server-side rendered, which is perfect, and you can see that we can navigate between the pages here. And again, we didn't have to do any additional router support. You can also see it also set up this other domain, next-starter.andrewrjohn.now.sh, which is my GitHub username, which is really nice. I didn't know it did that. So I think that'll just happen if you are connecting it to a Git repository, which you don't have to do, but it makes things a lot easier. And if you want to add your own custom domain, it's very simple to do that, and you can do that right here. So I would highly recommend you guys check out Next. You get the great benefits of server-side rendering and static websites, and it's super easy to get started, but you also have good levels of customization. You can add your own Webpack config, Babel config, and other things like that. I'm just showing the basic bare bones example of getting a Next project set up. So yeah, that's just my quick how-to on how to get a React site deployed to the internet. If you guys enjoyed, if you have any questions, let me know down below. And if you like this video, feel free to give it a like and maybe even subscribe. See you later, guys.